Murmurs of cronyism and backroom deals have been associated with Malaysian politics. The intertwined dance of power and wealth has been a norm.
And super yachts.
The Malaysian people were defrauded on an enormous scale.
Billions of dollars stolen from Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund, 1MDB. 101
of Malaysia's government. At the center was One Malaysia Development Berhad.
Malaysia's battle with corruption began in the 1970s with corruption and scandal surrounding public officials. But it was the high-profile cases of the 1980s and the 2000s that led to the creation of Malaysia's Anti-Corruption Commission and, of course, the widespread attention.
Corruption, a word that carries a weight of injustice, abuse of power, and stolen opportunities. It exists in politics, businesses, and even in our daily life. But how do we fight it?
We have seen how corruption can weaken societies, destroy trust, and limit opportunities. But what if I told you that corruption isn't just about dishonest leaders or bribery? Sometimes the root of corruption can be found in something as fundamental as education.
Imagine a world where integrity is valued over shortcuts, where success is earned, not bought. This world isn't impossible. It starts with education. But can learning truly put an end to a corruption?
In a world where justice and fairness should be the foundation of our society, civic education plays a crucial role. But what does it really mean to understand our rights and responsibilities? How can we, as individuals, hold our leaders and institutions accountable?
Corruption, of course, has three different sectors, one of them being government. Government is, you usually know, public officials misusing their power, resulting in mismanaged public funds, fraud, and a lack of public services. The second one, we have businesses. Companies engaging with unethical practices like price fixing, bribery, or influencing legislation for their personal gain. And last but not least, we have international affairs. Corruption in global institutions, trade, or development projects can undermine international relations and equitable growth. We also have different types of corruption, one of them being bribery. Offering or receiving something of value to influence actions or decisions of many other people, or perhaps just the person that they're trying to bribe. Secondly, we have nepotism. Favoring friends or family members in decision-making, employment, or resource allocation. And next is one that we always hear a lot, which is embezzlement. Misappropriation of funds or resources entrusted to one's care. And last but not least, we have extortion. Coercing someone into providing money or resources under threat or duress.
In Malaysia, corruption has cost the nation billions. From the BMF scandals, 1980s, to the infamous 1MDB case, the pattern remained the same. Unchecked power, personal gain, and lack of integrity. Corruption is not just about money, it's about power, loss of opportunities, and the system that fails its people. But what fuels corruption? When institutions are weak, those in power act without fear, making corruption a way of life instead of an exception. When public servants are underpaid, temptation takes over, and bribery becomes a survival tool rather than a crime. A culture of silence, where people look the other way of fear speaking up, allows corruption to grow in the shadows. And without transparency, without system to track, report, and expose wrongdoing, the truth is buried, hidden behind closed doors, protecting the corrupt while the people suffer. But What if we could change this in a way that we do not expect?
Education is meant to empower people, teaching him integrity and accountability. But when education is lacking or ineffective, it can have the opposite effect. Without proper critical thinking skills, people may not question unethical practice around them. They might accept corruption as normal simply because they don't know any better. Another issue is accessibility. Not everyone gets the education they deserve. Those who miss out on learning opportunities often struggle to find stable jobs. And in this separate situation, corruption can seem like the only way to survive. So, while education has the power to fight corruption, its flaws can sometimes allow corruption to grow. The real challenge is making sure our education system truly prepares individuals to resist corruption, rather than fall victim to it.
And so we ask ourselves, can educating the youth really make a change in the rate of corruption in our country?
Educating the youth is very important, yeah? Because these are new generations that we need to give what they call lesson to them and give a good example to the youth, especially from the primary school and go to the secondary school and of course to the higher learning institutions, like the university. We need to give a good examples. Why do we want to prevent from the corruptions? Because we can see from the other country, which is the problems with the corruption in a mirrors the country collapse the government, for example, in Sri Lanka, and recently, and also in Greece before. There's a few countries that collapse because of the corruptions. And as a result of this, we need to educate them, how to be disciplined, and we need to offer the public, so what they call the transparency to the media. The media is a very important role to play. Whatever doing, the wrongdoing, from the wrong doers, then we can highlight the issue, which is not transparent. So, and then that's why to educate the peoples and to educate the public and even the youngsters is very important from the beginning, before they embark to what called the real life, to get a job and get a proper job and a proper salary, and give them a good education and try to teach them, it's very important to get a good education, because anyway the education is is a weapon in this world now. So with the education, of course, this young generation become more disciplined, and of course we have to align with the discipline, with the educations, with our religion as well, because we know that the religion, because the Malaysia is a multiracial population, so they have their own religions. Of course, it's dominated by the Muslim, and then of course the other races also belongs to the other religions. But of course, we believe that these religions actually they have their own what they call a discipline, their own what they call a belief, So to get a what they call proper life, to get a good life. So we need to what they call go to the basic. The basic is very important. So when we have a strong basic, education and religions, of course, and then we scared of this. So we try to avoid from these corruptions, and of course, and automatically that we have a good future then.
Corruption is a word we hear too often. It weakens the economy, destroys trust, and holds back progress. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful weapons against corruption isn't law enforcement or punishment, but it is education? Education does more than just teach facts. It shapes values, builds integrity, and empowers individuals to stand against corruption. When young minds are taught the importance of honesty and accountability, they will grow into adults who demand the same from their leaders. By integrating ethics and transparency into school curriculums, we create a culture where corruption is not tolerated. Teaching students about real-world cases and the impact of corruption makes them aware of their role in preventing it. But honestly, education alone isn't enough. We need an action. School must not only teach about integrity, but also practice it by fostering environments where fairness and accountability are the norm. The fight against corruption starts with us. By educating next generation, we are not just teaching lessons. We are building a future where justice and truth wins.
Saya percaya untuk mendidik golongan muda dari usia yang awal tentang ketulusan dan integriti sangatlah bagus, sangatlah saya bersetuju kerana itu dapat mengurangkan ataupun membantu isu rasuah pada masa hadapan. Ini kerana pendidikan yang dapat menekankan nilai-nilai mulia yang baik seperti bertanggungjawab, amanah, jujur dan juga keadilan dapat melahirkan anak muda yang memberi pemikiran yang positif dan juga dapat menilai dan juga ketelusan daripada pencegahan rasuah itu sendiri. Aktiviti kempen anti rasuah. Untuk para pendidik ataupun organisasi di sekolah boleh melibatkan pelajar memberi penerangan ataupun pendedahan kepada pelajar-pelajar tentang rasuah ataupun tentang keburukan rasuah ataupun tentang bila dah melakukan rasuah, apakah akibat ataupun kesan buruk yang terjadi kepada pelajar. Yang kedua, pemberian contoh teladan. Macam kita di sekolah, contoh teladan kita yang paling dekat adalah guru ataupun pentadbir. Guru-guru dan pentadbir perlulah selain kita bagi penerangan, tingkah laku guru pun perlulah baik. Jangan tunjukkan ataupun itu memang kita kena elak. Kita jangan tunjukkan secara langsung rasuah itu terjadi ataupun sebaliknya, kita tunjuk yang baik-baik saja. Erti kata lain, kita sebagai pendidik kena sentiasa jujur, berintegriti dengan segala apa urusan yang kita jalankan, sama ada di sekolah ataupun di luar sekolah. Itu memberi kesan yang baiklah kepada anak-anak murid yang melihat contoh teladan yang terdekat di sekolah. Yang terakhir adalah pelibatan ibu bapa dan komuniti. So, para pentadbir ataupun guru-guru boleh melibatkan secara langsung ataupun tidak langsung ibu bapa dan komuniti bersama-sama pelajar untuk menerapkan nilai-nilai yang baik. Sama ada program ataupun memberi penekanan kepada ibu bapa tentang integriti ataupun anti rasuah. So, walau secara tak langsung kita bagi kepada anak murid, kita bagi juga kepada ibu bapa untuk mereka terapkan. Kerana ibu bapa ni adalah guru yang pertama, guru paling dekat kepada pelajar sebelum mereka pergi ke sekolah. So itu sangat pentinglah tanggungjawab daripada pentadbir, guru-guru, daripada ibu bapa, komuniti dan juga pelajar-pelajar. Jadi saya di sini mengharap kepada anak-anak muda di luar sana untuk lebih menekankan nilai-nilai murni yang baik seperti bertanggungjawab, seperti amanah, jujur untuk membuat keputusan ataupun urusan secara langsung dan tidak langsung, untuk kita berfikir apa yang kita buat ni adalah benar ataupun menjurus kepada rasuah.
Educating students about their legal rights, duties and how government system function is more than just learning laws. It's about empowerment. When people understand the structure of governments, they can recognize corruption when it happens. They can demand fairness, they can create change, but knowledge alone is not enough. Raising awareness is the next step. Schools and universities can organize workshops, discussion and campaigns. Not just talk about corruption, but to actively fight it. Imagine students working together to identify unfair practices, reporting unethical behavior, and standing up for what is right. Awareness isn't just about knowing, it's about acting.
And who plays one of the biggest role in shaping ethical behavior? Yes, our teachers. Educators are more than just instructors. They are role models. They teach by example. A teacher who upholds integrity in the classroom inspires students to do the same in their life. When ethical behavior is demonstrated consistently, students naturally adopt these values.
Encouraging open discussion about morality, fairness, and justice helps create a new generation that refuses to tolerate corruption. When students see the impact of honesty and accountability, they become advocates for truth.
As we move forward, the power to create a just society in education and awareness, change starts with knowledge, grow with actions, and thrive with integrity. The real question is, are we ready to make that change?